If you listen to Sorabji's Transcendental Studies, you will discover an entirely new musical and pianistic world. Fascinating pieces, often of enormous, I would say, textural and atmospheric beauty. Sorabji was, I would say, one of the most original and productive and reclusive composers during the 20th century. He lived in Britain, but he had a mixed heritage. His mother was Italian, his father was a Parsi from India, and he retained an interest in the Parsi culture and Zoroastrian religion throughout his life, and he also refers to that culture as a source of inspiration. He talks about Persian carpets, for instance. He's very relevant for cultural life today. He has many very original ideas as a composer, his treatment of the piano, his rhythmic and melodic and polyphonic complexity. Another interesting aspect is the non-Western influences in Sorabji's music, which are very obvious and related to his Parsi heritage. There is this static, meditative quality, which is quite unusual for its time. So I think he is a very visionary, experimental and original composer that I hope would interest a lot of people today as well. Sorabji's music is entirely notated, so there is no improvisation element in it as such. However, what I find very inspiring as a performer is that he leaves a lot of parameters open. He rarely specifies an exact tempo or an exact dynamic or even a character. So this is up to the performer to decide or understand, perhaps. And I think this gives you a lot of latitude and creativity also as a pianist, which is nice. Main research interests are skill learning, how does the brain acquire new skills, and creativity. What are the mechanisms in the brain that allow us to come up with new ideas or create new music, for instance. And in both cases we use music as a model or as a window through which we can study the brain's functions in general. So in that sense there is of course a great deal of overlap between my research interests and my interest as a musician. I have a lot of favorite moments in this big cycle, of course. There are several really beautiful impressionistic nocturnes with this wonderful complexity, like a garden or jungle of sound. But then also several very humorous and funny pieces. And then of course it's a very special feeling as a pianist to play these monumental culminations that you have, for instance, in the Passacaglia or in the final etude. If you are new to Sorabji's music, I would really recommend to start with one of his nocturnes. So these are impressionistic pieces that are very characteristic of Sorabji and perhaps his best works. And there are several examples of these in the 100 Transcendental Studies as well. The one moment that stands out, that's probably when we recorded the final F-sharp minor chord that concludes the whole cycle. That was on the evening of winter solstice here in Sweden. And it was an incredible feeling also because the whole cycle starts in the same key. So it's a long sort of 15-year journey that came back to the point of origin in a sense.